Okay, so hey y'all. I am a hot, sweaty mess because I have been in the garden for the past hour. However, my garden is a hot mess still, but I actually am seeing a difference now. I have been setting myself a task for getting in the garden for 30 minutes a day. And of course, I leave myself like an hour to an hour and a half before time to feed the animals, before dark. And every day I get in here and I lose track of time and I have to stop because it's getting dark. And I'm going to show you what I have accomplished in just a couple days, which may not seem much in comparison to the size of the garden. But sometimes you just have to start because it can be very overwhelming. This time of year you can have burnout. So sometimes you just need to do something, because if you don't do anything, you're never going to do anything. So let's see what I've done. And I'm going to water while I do this. And this is also so I know what's planted where, because I have not taken the time to label. So I have reclaimed this bed, and I left this pepper here because it's finally starting to produce and come back after the groundhog got it. And so on this side, there was, I think, a tomato plant, and then the Kajari melon was on the end. So I have put in some broccoli plants right here. And then on this side, there is still this one melon, which I think is the Ben something melon. It did pretty good. And there's one little cucumber that's come back right there. So I just kind of weeded around them, and I have put in some collard greens right here on the outside, because by the time they get really big and bushy about the time of frost, the melons and the cucumber will be done. So they're not going to interfere. So then this next bed, I haven't really reclaimed the whole thing, but as you can see, there's a little cucumber that's still alive. This one tomato I'm leaving just because it's trying to come back out. And then this tomato has a really pretty tomato that's turning, and another smaller one. So I'm going to leave it till those tomatoes are done. But the other side I cleaned out. And again, I put broccoli. We love broccoli. I never can grow enough broccoli, but I still try to grow some every year. And then I think this is broccoli as well. And then I also put in celery. I had some celery left over from spring that surprisingly is alive, and it's just been hanging out in its little aquaponics bin and staying small. So I popped it in there, and as well as a chamomile that was in the same tub, just hanging out since spring, not really doing anything, but because it kept water, they're still alive. They just didn't have any room to grow, so we're gonna give them freedom and see what happens. I mean, the worst case scenario is they die, but they would have anyway. So that's these two center beds. I still have tomatoes on all those dying vines, so I'm waiting on those and just kind of working my way to them. Same with those. But these top two beds, as you first come in the garden, they had the spoon tomatoes, which we never picked, and then a couple of plants that were done. So I went ahead and pulled the black fabric back and cleaned out the grass on the edge. And again, I put in some more celery that was living and broccoli over here. I didn't want to put collards on this side because the chickens can get their heads through there, and so they would definitely eat the collards, and they may nip at the broccoli leaves, but usually with the broccoli they can I have enough on one side of the plant to grow the head, so I'm not really worried about it. I left these two flowers, even though they're looking pretty rough. They have some buds on them, so I may clean them up, trim them back a little bit. So this is that hydroponic tray that had some of the celery and chamomile left in it, and it's just been sitting in this tub. And I've been needing to empty it, but I hated to throw the plants out, so they've just been hanging out there and living. And then these are the trays that I bought at Soviero's Tri-County Garden Center. And then the turkeys got in here and trampled them, but they are coming back. So I think the majority of it, need to water them, is going to be okay. I lost obviously some that they pulled out and ate, and then some they just flattened. But considering I had 6 turkeys in here freaking out because they were trapped, I'm thankful for what did get saved, what is coming back. So I'm trying to get all this planted. I've gotten most of this tray planted, a little bit of this one. And then over here, this one was really overgrown. It had all that stuff in it. And so I didn't think there was anything left in this bed. And I was happy to find celery I had planted in the spring actually tanking off. It's still small, but it was not getting, you know, good sunlight. It was covered up with all those weeds. So I cleared all that out, found my chives underneath here, cleared those out. And then I popped in, I'm not sure what this one little plant I'm watering is because it had been pulled out of the little trays. So it may be a broccoli, but I'm not quite sure because it was just laying on the ground where the turkeys had pulled it out. And then the same with those two right there, which those are a type of lettuce. I think those are one of the like mesclun mix. So I do know those are lettuce, but this one looks like a broccoli to me. So that one is recovered. Down there, I have got to tackle those. There is one tomato plant and then one at the end, but the middle sections need to be cleaned out. This tomato plant is pretty much done. But we're gonna come back over here because yesterday I got this done. And this is just kind of where I started. This bed was not terrible. It had all my peppers in it. The turkeys did trample them a little bit. I'm gonna lose that one. And then that one they kind of pulled out, but they didn't pull it all the way out. So I came in here and weeded this and then planted some arugula, some cilantro, which I thought would go good with the peppers. And I think all of this is cilantro in here. And then once I got this one done, I came over and started cleaning out this one next to it. And I got all the way down to that tomato plant. And it's hard to tell because it's leaning over, but there's a few more tomatoes on it. But I may go ahead and pull it because I think I'm just pretty much done. Like I will show you some more that I'm definitely going to wait on, but these that are just really rough looking and only have 1 or 2, I think I'm just going to pull them up. But right here I had a basil plant that I trimmed up, put in some celery right here, and again some broccoli because I'm on this outside edge where the chickens and turkeys can get to. So there's like one in there, but I think I got the most of them yesterday. So I may, oh, there's the other one. I may just pull this up and be done with it. And then all of these, just go ahead and pull those. And then these are getting ripe, so I'll be able to work my way down and pull these in the next day or two. All these Romas are just laying on the ground, but there's so many down there. And then these never produced anything. There's like 1 tomato. So I may just pull all this out and be done. And then I still have a lot of tomatoes right in here. These small ones that I'm making bruschetta out of. There's some peppers and basil in here. Basil, I'm gonna pull these tomatoes out. This eggplant grew huge, has flowers, never gave me fruit. So the eggplants did not like it down here, but the ones up on the other side loved it. This Roma still has quite a few tomatoes spread out. So I may make that one of the last beds I do. And then today, this was the last bed I worked on. I had carrots in here, and I still have, oh my gosh, I can't remember what these, leeks. Like 2 leeks, but they're just not doing well. So I put some celery and I believe some broccoli in here because this broccoli was looking the worst. So this was actually the first spot I did today. So that's over from those 2 beds. And then the other bed I cleaned out's right there. This is going to be the next project because there's really not much in here except for some kohlrabi I planted that's starting to come up. So I need to unearth it. And so I'm going to work my way down these 2. And I believe this center bed next. There's 1 tomato plant in here, but I may just yank it. There's a bunch of tomatoes on it, but I could do a green salsa verde. And then this one was the chrysanthemum melon on this side, which is dead. And then I have all my beautiful eggplants on this side, some borage on this side, some basil, a ton of basil, and then this tomato plant is gone. So I can trim back this basil, take out the tomato plant, clean up the weeds, and have quite a bit of space right here and on that other side. So I can put like peas in and some cabbage, and you know, I think we'll be good. So this one and those 2 I think are the next, and this first one up here. And then that way I've got like this whole center section kind of cleaned out, which mentally I think is going to help me so much. In just 2 days, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, pretty much 8 beds done. So that's awesome. Okay, everybody, I am losing the light, but thank you for joining me on this really quick video today. I have been actually trying to be really consistent lately, so I wanted to get something different up for you because I know it's mostly been like little Canon projects and stuff. In the past few days, I have really been focusing on this garden, reclaiming it, getting the fall garden in, and then I will be back in the kitchen. I've got some really fun things I'm going to try. So thank you for joining me, and hit the like and subscribe if you don't mind, if you haven't already, and I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.